My sister ruined my wedding to make hers more special, so I exposed her secret and her wedding was canceled. I'm a 25-year-old woman who recently married the love of my life. The problem isn't with my marriage, but with my sister, Katie, a 29-year-old woman who did everything she could to sabotage my special day. We come from a large, close-knit family. My father, along with his 2 brothers and 2 sisters, has always been a part of a big, intertwined family dynamic. My grandparents still play a significant role in family decisions, and almost everyone lives within 25 miles of the same town. Growing up, all of us cousins were raised together in this environment. Katie is the eldest cousin, and from a young age, she relished being the center of attention. She was showered with love for 4 years until I was born, and since then she has harbored an underlying grudge against me, as if my arrival somehow stole her spotlight. Despite growing up in the same household, Katie and I were polar opposites. Katie was the star child, outgoing, lively, and always in the spotlight. I, on the other hand, was quieter and struggled to keep up. Diagnosed with mild autism at a young age, I faced challenges in handling things that came easily to others. My parents worked tirelessly to help me manage my symptoms and lead a typical life, but Katie always viewed me as an easy target. She didn't miss any opportunity to mock me and often influenced others to do the same. Fast forward to last Christmas, the entire family gathered at my grandfather's house for the traditional holiday dinner. This yearly event, arranged by my dad and uncles, ensures we all come together, no matter where life takes us. It's one of the rare times when all the cousins reconnect. I decided this was the perfect occasion to announce my engagement. When I shared the news, Katie's face immediately dropped. She seemed shocked that someone with autism could find love. If you meet me, you'd never know about my diagnosis unless I tell you. It's something I've learned to manage well over the years, but Katie has never acknowledged my efforts or achievements, and her disbelief was evident. Her initial reaction was dripping with disdain. "Who on earth proposed to you?" she blurted out, barely masking her disbelief. Before she could add more insults, the room erupted in cheers and congratulations. To share my happiness, I showed everyone a picture of my fiancé. Katie snatched it from my dad's hand, zooming in and scrutinizing every detail, as if trying to find something wrong. She couldn't say much, so she awkwardly commented, "Gary's taller than him." My mom gave her a stern look, but Katie shrugged it off, adding, "Just saying. By the way, what does he do? Doesn't look like he's rich." She giggled as though it were a joke. I calmly replied, "He's a software engineer at Meta. Look up the salary." Katie's eyes widened in disbelief, and for a moment she was speechless. Then she forced a fake smile and retorted, "Gary also makes a lot." I replied coolly, "You mean Gary's father makes a lot? How much does Gary himself make?" Katie attempted to justify that Gary was the heir to his father's wealth, but no one paid attention to her at that point. Her remarks faded into the background noise as the room filled with excitement again when I announced we were getting married in the spring. More hugs and congratulations followed, but Katie stayed quiet. Later, she gave me a side hug and offered a lukewarm congratulations, followed by her own announcement, "We're having a summer wedding, by the way." I replied with the same lack of enthusiasm, "Congratulations to you too." This has always been our dynamic. No matter how much I try to avoid it, I end up in these petty exchanges with Katie. I've learned to hold my ground and respond to her snide remarks, but the animosity never fades. I considered not inviting her to the wedding, but our family dynamics left me no choice. She was not only invited, but seemed eager to attend. and now I know why. My wedding was meant to be a simple, intimate gathering with close friends and family. But with our large, extended family, it inevitably grew into a grander event. We chose a beautiful rustic venue, and everything was going smoothly. Until Katie decided to make her move. We had set up a screen to play video messages from friends and family who couldn't attend. I was excited to hear their heartfelt words and well wishes. At first, when childhood pictures and videos started playing on the screen, I thought it was a sweet surprise for my parents or siblings. But then, it became clear that this was something else entirely. Instead of cherished memories, the screen displayed clips of my most embarrassing childhood moments. There I was, struggling to read a clock, covering my ears at a birthday party because the music was too loud, failing to catch a ball, and having full meltdowns over trivial things. Katie had hijacked the presentation, compiling these humiliating moments into a video montage. To make matters worse, her voice narrated the clips, explaining the context behind each one in excruciating detail. It was clear she had dug through old tapes and gone out of her way to find the most degrading footage possible. It was so overwhelming that I stopped being able to stop it, but by then, it was already too late. The harm had been done. No one could act fast enough because everyone assumed it was either a heartfelt message or something positive might come out of it. But how could anyone believe Katie would say something kind to me? As it played, Katie gave me a smug smile. My parents shouted at her, but she dismissed them with a shrug, saying, "Come on, don't be so sensitive. It's just a joke." Some people laughed, including a few of my husband's relatives who didn't know what I'd been through as a child. Meanwhile, his friends and family looked horrified. I felt so humiliated that I wanted to disappear. Everyone was staring at me, and I felt like they were laughing and mocking me. I ran from the aisle and locked myself in the bathroom. My parents, siblings, and husband spent hours consoling me. They assured me that no one was laughing and that everyone was questioning Katie about her tasteless humor, but I know they only said that to make me feel better. I had seen so many laughing faces, and the memory still haunts me. I agreed to come out only after all the guests had left because I couldn't bear to face anyone. While I was still in the bathroom, my brother overheard my father scolding Katie. She admitted that she was jealous because I'd found a good husband and was getting married in such a beautiful location. She said she wanted her wedding to be more special, but couldn't achieve that unless she ruined mine. That's why she did what she did. My brother was so close to hitting her, and the argument escalated, but my father stepped in at the right moment to calm things down. Now that you know the background, here's the thing. It's been over a month, and I still can't get past the humiliation. For people like me, dealing with emotional distress is extremely hard. Why doesn't Katie understand that? I feel so angry and vengeful, wanting to retaliate. Katie has always gotten away with everything, but this time she overlooked something crucial. I know her darkest secrets. When she was 15, she ran off with a shady guy she met at a concert. This wasn't just a case of teenage rebellion. The man was a drug dealer. Katie stayed with him for 2 weeks and got involved with drugs. My parents had to call the police to track her down and bring her home. Afterward, she was sent to a rehabilitation program. My parents covered the whole thing up, telling others that she was staying with her maternal grandmother in Mexico. Even now, it's a closely guarded family secret. I was only 11 at the time, but I overheard my parents making a panicked phone call to close relatives about it. Most of the family, especially the younger members, like my siblings, don't know anything about it. Katie's fiancé Gary and his family also have no clue. From what I've heard, they're a bit conservative. If this secret were to come out, it wouldn't sit well with them. Katie has always portrayed herself as a perfect woman, a polished gem from a respectable family with no baggage. But her past tells a very different story: running away, drug use, and a stint in rehab. I never imagined using this secret against her, but after she destroyed one of the happiest days of my life, I feel like I can't just let it go. At the same time, I'm conflicted because revealing this could cancel her wedding, which feels extreme. My husband also thinks it's too harsh. He's a genuinely kind person who believes in second chances. Even so, he can't deny how cruel Katie was to me. What do you think? Is my plan to expose her too extreme? How can I let go of this anger without doing something drastic? Please avoid sarcasm or overly complex metaphors, as I find them hard to understand. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts. Update: most of the comments I received were too complicated for me to make sense of. From what I gathered, opinions were divided, so I made my decision. I created a new Facebook account using a different name and contacted Gary's mother. This wasn't out of fear of Katie or anyone else. I knew Katie would eventually figure out it was me, since only a handful of people, mainly the elders in the family, were aware of the situation, and they wouldn't have done this. I chose to remain anonymous because if my name had been visible, Gary or his mother might dismiss it as bitterness or a baseless rumor. I kept my message short and informed her that Katie had a significant history involving a stay in rehab and her relationship with the dealer. As expected, she was furious and demanded to know who I was. She called me repeatedly on Facebook Messenger, trying to get me to reveal more and accusing me of spreading falsehoods. I replied, "Fine, don't believe me. But when she takes half your wealth in alimony, it'll be too late to regret it." I provided her with details about the rehab and suggested she verify the information herself rather than trusting my words. After that, I didn't receive any updates. A week later, my mom called to tell me that Kama had caught up with Katie. Apparently, Gary found out about her past and broke off the engagement. His parents even came to my parents' house and berated them for hiding their daughter's history. My parents had a hard time dealing with the fallout, and I felt bad for them because Katie had always caused them pain. I told my mom, "Sometimes we have to be our own karma." She went quiet for a moment before asking me outright, "Honey, you didn't have anything to do with this, did you?" I simply replied, "It doesn't matter. She got what she deserved." My grandmother often says something about people in glass houses throwing stones. I can't phrase it perfectly, but I think you'll get the point. If you wrong others, you'll eventually face the consequences. My mom then asked me if I'd given the rehab details, saying Gary had somehow accessed those records and used them to confront Katie before ending things. I didn't want to discuss it further, so I changed the subject, and we ended the call. I felt a sense of relief knowing that Gary had canceled the wedding and Katie's dream of being a wealthy housewife had fallen apart. Later, I logged back into the fake account and found a message from Gary's mom thanking me for protecting them. I deleted the account after reading it. Less than a week after Gary dumped her, Katie stormed into my house. I was still in my pajamas when she burst in, shouting that I'd ruined her life. Her sudden outburst caught me off guard, and while I panicked, I tried to defend myself by saying, "You got what you deserved." She became so enraged that I thought she might hit me. She charged at me, yelling, "How dare you do this? How could you betray me and reveal my past? You'll pay for this." I started screaming back, but when she became violent, I couldn't handle it. Thankfully, my husband was home. He stepped in and told her to calm down, but she wasn't listening. She began throwing objects, including a vase. which shattered against the wall. She even tried to grab my hair, but my husband intervened and told her to leave. Katie wasn't calming down. I don't know what she wanted, but she kept threatening to hurt me, saying she'd smash my head and rip my brain out. My husband called the police and ordered her to leave. She refused, and he said that if she were a man, he'd have physically thrown her out. He couldn't hit a woman, so she got away with her behavior. Her shouting attracted the neighbors, and a few knocked on the door to check on us. Our building manager also showed up, likely because the neighbors had called him due to the disturbance. When the police arrived, Katie immediately changed her demeanor. She started crying, claiming I'd spread lies about her and caused her fiancé to call off the wedding. The building manager backed us up, stating that she was causing a scene. The police escorted her out and warned her not to repeat such behavior. While I knew I'd struck a nerve, part of me felt a sense of victory. The next chapter of this drama unfolded when my mom called me after Sunday prayers saying Katie had confronted her at church, accusing me of ruining her life and damaging our family's reputation. My mom, who had endured Katie's antics for years, didn't hold back. In front of everyone, she shot back, "Maybe if you'd raised yourself like your younger sister, you'd be a decent person who doesn't have to lie and manipulate to get what she wants." Katie, furious, blamed my mom for turning me into a monster. My mom retorted that perhaps Katie needed to experience karma. Their argument became public, and people who hadn't known about Katie's secret learned of it during the confrontation. She could have spoken to my father privately, but instead she aired her dirty laundry in front of everyone. My father, as the eldest uncle and a favorite of my grandparents, tried to use his influence to mitigate things. Some family members sided with Katie, claiming I'd gone too far because family is family, and I should have let it go. But others, including my grandfather, reminded everyone that Katie had humiliated me on one of the most important days of my life and mocked my disability. Now the family is divided. Our group chat is awkward and mostly silent. When someone does post, no one responds. Katie has even left the group. I feel guilty for adding to the family tension, but I don't regret standing up for myself. Katie got away with saying her cruel wedding prank was just for laughs, and that I didn't understand humor because of my condition. Apart from a stern look, she faced no consequences. Until now. She can't keep escaping responsibility every time. Besides, I didn't spread any lies. I simply revealed the truth, nothing more. If she or anyone else wants to think of me as some evil witch or sly fox, they can think whatever they like. I don't care. Update 2. Thank you to everyone who understands my side of things. It's comforting to know there are others like me, just trying to live a normal life while being dragged down by someone we know. Honestly, I agree. Strangers often treat us better than family or relatives. It's been a year since my last update, and I've kept my distance from the toxic family members. Recently, though, there's been a lot of gossip about Katie. My brother spilled the news that she left town a few months after the breakup. Apparently, she couldn't bear the judgmental stares from neighbors and others in the area. Of course, she's been blaming me for everything, but the reality is that she was the one who started it all and chose to make it public at the church. Lately, a new rumor has been circulating about Katie. Supposedly, she reconnected with some questionable friends from her past. It's no longer a secret. Everyone's aware of it. She's been openly sharing stories on social media, partying with shady groups in dark, seedy places. She even quit her job, and no one knows how she's funding her extravagant lifestyle. That mystery was solved when she visited my parents. During her stay, she stole my mother's banking information and wiped out her life savings. It's shocking that she would steal from her own family. My mom was devastated. She told anyone who would listen that it was all my fault, claiming that if I hadn't ruined Katie's wedding, she would still be her perfect daughter. But her narrative wasn't holding up anymore. People were beginning to see Katie's true nature. The more she lashed out, the clearer it became to the family how toxic she truly was. Eventually, even my parents started distancing themselves from her. Regardless of what they tell others, I know they've realized deep down what kind of person Katie really is. They simply couldn't risk losing more to protect her. Katie's downfall began to expose even more secrets. Relatives who had quietly resented her for years started sharing stories of her lies, manipulation, and the harm she caused others. My grandmother, usually the one who tries to keep peace in the family, admitted that she had known about Katie's drug issues, but had stayed silent to preserve the family's reputation. Now she regretted letting Katie get away with so much. Other family members who had also held back finally started speaking up. The perfect, polished image Katie had projected was nothing but a mask, hiding years of dysfunction. The real shock came last week when Katie's mother called me in tears. She said Katie had gone completely off the rails. Apparently, she was now dating a guy from her high school days, a shady character connected to Rex, the dealer she had run off with years ago. I asked her what she expected me to do about it. She begged me to talk to Katie, to somehow fix things, because she believed all of this started with me. She wanted me to grovel in front of Katie, ask for her forgiveness, and boost her ego. I refused. I told her that Katie's decisions were her own and that I had nothing to apologize for. Katie's lies were what destroyed her, not me. For years I was the scapegoat, the weird sister she used to make herself look better. But now the tables had turned. Rumors say she's not only dating that sketchy guy, but also living with him and helping him in his illegal activities. My parents are heartbroken, but they can't keep covering for her anymore. Katie's life has completely unraveled. All I did was reveal one truth, and the rest of her tangled web of lies collapsed on its own. Do I feel bad? Sometimes. But Katie's choices had consequences, and for once she couldn't escape them. I spent years being bullied, ridiculed, and treated like I was nothing, all so Katie could shine. Finally, I'm at peace. Standing up to her was one of the hardest things I've ever done, but I don't regret it. Sometimes people, even family, need to be held accountable. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next video. Until next time,